an extended hiatus. School's been dominating lately, and this is the first chance I had to do this. I wanted to do a countdown for quite a while, and I decided to do it on the video games in the Fire Emblem franchise I've played. I decided to rate them from least to most favorite, and due to the release of Three Houses, that one is not on the list, though it could be included in the future. The games I'm rating are the GBA Fire Emblems, Path of Radiance, Awakening, and Fates, which I am counting as 3 different games due to each of them can stand on their own 2 feet. If you're not wanting any spoilers, I would suggest not watching this video because there are massive spoilers on this list. I also want to state that the games are the property of Nintendo and Intelligent Systems, and I hold the right to no copyright materials. Number 8, Fate's Birthright. Now let me say that I don't hate any of the Fire Emblem games, it's just the fact that I like some more than others. In the case of Birthright, I love the game, I just find it forgettable compared to the rest of Fates and Fire Emblem in general. Birthright was my second game I played behind Awakening, so it does have sentimental value. However, I find the flaws Birthright has kind of off-putting for my taste. I usually forget everything about the story of Birthright apart from one particular scene involving everyone's favorite paladin. I like most of the map design, but the second encounter with Camilla did give me quite a headache. The music was okay, Azura's was probably somewhat best utilized in this. And so in short, I find Birthright forgettable with some flaws, but I still love it regardless. Number 7, Fate's Revelation. Where Birthright was forgettable in more ways than one, Revelation had more memorable moments but just as many flaws. Now, unlike a lot of people, I actually liked Revelation's map gimmicks. It allowed me to think a little outside the box, and I also like the fact that you can play with almost every unit in Fates. However, some of the paralogs I did find annoying. I'm looking at you, Shiro and Sophie. Also, the difficulty spikes in Rev was a little jarring, but considering the fact that Birthright was easier than Revelation by a long shot, I was not surprised. Revelation might be the game that I played the most, but the flaws it has keeps it at number 7. Number 6, Sacred Stones. Now, before you start raising an outrage in the comments section about me putting Sacred Stones so low on the list, let me clear the air here. Sacred Stones was my 4th Fire Emblem game, so after being accustomed to playing Awakening and Fates for so long, the mechanics in Sacred Stones was not easy to get used to, for lack of better words. When I first played Sacred Stones, permadeath was so jarring to me after being used to playing on casual and Phoenix modes. What puts Sacred Stones above Birthright and Revelation is the characters. As much as I like Fate's cast, some of them pushed too many of my buttons. Arthur and Percy, I'm referring to you too. Sacred Stones at least lets more of the characters have enough screen time, and Leon is definitely a villain that I liked for how tragic his backstory is. The map was great apart from Tana's chapter on Erica's path. That chapter drove me crazy, especially when it came to recruiting Amelia. In all honesty though, it put me off at my first attempt. I like Sacred Stones, though not as much as the others on the list. Number 5, Fate's Conquest. Although I played Birthright and Revelation more than Conquest, I won't deny that Conquest is the best of the 3 Fates paths. Conquest has probably the best map design out of the 3, although the Great Wall and the Ninja Cave can be best left forgotten. While I dislike some of the Norian characters, the ones I do like definitely make up for it. Thanks Xander and Leo, you two are lifesavers. The difficulty spike when compared to Birthright throws all the easiness out the window, making adaptability something that has to be learned. While Conquest is my favorite Fates path despite having played it the least, I found Conquest an interesting game, but it pales when compared to the rest of the games. Number 4, Binding Blade. Although I am not done playing Binding Blade, I did get far enough in the game to make a good judgment call on it. After getting as far as Arcadia before my mistakes bit me in the rear, I had to reset from Chapter 3. The map design was definitely different from what I'm used to, The guide and chapter requirements really forced me to drop my usual take my time policy out the window and try to complete the chapters faster. The characters are certainly lovable and is slowly earning their way onto my favorite characters list. However, as much as Binding Blade got my attention with how unique their story and characters are, the next 3 entries couldn't really be dethroned by Binding Blade. Number 3, Awakening. I know that Awakening is probably the reason I got into Fire Emblem in the first place. My friend let me borrow her copy of Awakening years ago, and since then I've always found a chance to ask to borrow Awakening every now and then. A lot of my favorite characters came out of Awakening, and I always make sure to have them on my team in the endgame. Now I know Awakening has its flaws, but the only flaw I actually hated from Awakening was some of the chapters. Tiki and Priam, I like those characters, but why did intelligence systems have to make their parallax so flippin' hard? While Awakening will always have a soft place as my first Fire Emblem game, the other 2 entries worm their way above it. Number 2, Path of Radiance. Path of Radiance definitely has a lot of fans praising it for its many good things. Although the voice acting can be cringy at times, its cutscenes was very good. The mechanics were very nice, and I loved the bonus experience system. It made leveling up units a lot easier. The story was compelling and interesting. The characters were definitely the most well-written characters I've ever seen. If there are 2 things about Path of Radiance that kept it from being number 1, it was Chapter 17, Day Breaks, and Chapter 26, Clash. It took me forever to get through Chapter 17, while Chapter 26 drove me insane with the number units on the map. Stupid sleep staff bishop making Zerako asleep. Now I know everyone is pretty sure who number 1 is, so let's just get to number 1. Number 1, Blazing Sword. Was there any other choice for number 1? Blazing Sword gave me a headache, but it also gave me a blast to play with. The map design was definitely awesome, and most of the characters definitely became favorites instantly. Alcrom, Lucina, and Ike were very good lords, and I like them a lot. Lynn, Eliwood, and Hector had personalities that won me over. The chapters are definitely some of the best. I will definitely still hang my hat or halo on the fact that I made Carla, the worst unit in Blazing Sword, killed Nurgle and the dragon. Blazing Sword might be a recent Fire Emblem game I completed, but it definitely earned its spot as my most favorite Fire Emblem game. I hope you enjoyed my video. Thank you all for watching. This is Moon Angel Fire, signing out.